Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and a very good evening to everyone, fellow audience and our honorable panelists. Today, we are having a forum, and by the way, I am UniSZA, your moderator for today's forum. The topic today quite significant, yet always neglected aspect of our life, even in Malaysia. Today, we are going to talk about the exposure of electronic gadgets towards our children. As we all may know, our children are important as they are tomorrow's leaders, and we want them to be the best for our own sakes. So the question is, electronic gadgets, are they really recommended for our children, and what are the pros and cons of this so-called leap in the advancement of humanity? So here, we have 4 panelists whom we can consider as the best in their respective fields. And this evening, we are going to go through this problem with them and find the best solution for this particular problem. Without further ado, let me introduce every one of them. So, here, we have Mr. Aiman Hishamuddin, a parent of 2 kids representing the parents out there. So, Aiman, how are you, Mr. Aiman?
Okay, great, Jose. It has been so long since I have been here. I'm surely nice to be back.
So, Mr. Aiman, what do you think about today's topic, generally?
Okay. So, as a parent who has 2 children, I would say that exposure to a gadget is an important topic to be discussed, and I'm sure the audience themselves would like to know the solution.
Certainly, I totally agree with you. The audience out there is very eager to know about the solution of this problem. Okay, moving to the next panelist, a medical doctor in UniSZA, specialist in pediatric, Mr. Ryan Rashid, whom we are going to ask the medical aspect of our topic. So, doctor, how are you today, and is it clinically important for us to discuss this topic?
Well, as always, I am very good, Jose. For this topic, there have been many medical cases constructed that correlate with exposure to gadgets toward little children. Mentally and physically, gadgets affect our children as always.
Okay, thank you, doctor. Let's save that for later, doctor. Okay, let's move to our next panelist. Our next panelist is a caretaker in children's nursery, Mr. Alif Aiman. So, Mr. Alif, how long have you been in this field, and what do you think about today's topic?
Okay, thank you, Zai. Okay. I have been working as a children caretaker for almost 5 years, and now I can assure you that in handling more than 20 kids in a day, electronic gadgets surely have given notable effects towards children.
Wow, that's really interesting, Alif. Sorry, my bad. I think we will get to that after this. Next, we have an expertise in IT, Mr. Najmuddin. So, as an IT expert, Najmuddin, any comment regarding of this particular topic?
Thank you, Zed. I'm happy to be here. Okay, in my experience, I can say that there are more than 50% of active electronic gadgets users are still considered as children, and this topic should be discussed in the danger side of the electronic gadget itself. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Najmuddin. So, we all know that the users of the electronic gadget is mainly children, right, Mr. Najmuddin? Okay. So, without wasting any more time, let's get started with this forum. Okay, first, we'll start with Mr. Aiman. So, Mr. Aiman, for starting, do you allow your children to use electronic gadgets? And what are the notable effects that you can share with us today?
Okay, thank you, Jose. Well now I have 2 male children, The first one is 12 years old and another one is 18 years old. The other brother has been exposed to electronic gadgets since he was 6 years old. And from what I could see, the older brother had a problem to blend with society when he getting older. He could not get along with other kids easily. That time I thought that he was just kind of shy and embraced with new people. But then I realized that he didn't have social and communication skill that could make people understand him well. I think the primary causes was that he always made use of his time mostly playing with gadgets and did not have enough interaction with other people. I think this is one of the dangerous side of exposure to the gadgets. Okay, thank you, Zain.
Interesting, Mr. Iman. So you have experienced a child who have lacking of social skill because of the excessive usage of electronic gadget. True, Mr. Iman? Interesting. How about your second son, Mr. Iman? The 8 years old one?
Well, I learned from my mistakes. For the second son, I didn't allow him to play game on the gadget more than 2 hours, and I will always watch over my son when I have time. As a result, my second son was able to communicate well and make a lot of friends. Even I can clearly see that his emotional quotient is good enough. He knows how to sympathize, understand people even when he was young. Even though I'm practiced that method toward my older son, and I think that he is getting better every day when he plays with people around him. I think I have learned from my kids and they learn from me.
Wow, I think this mic is a little problem. Maybe we can fix it. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's okay. Maybe Mr. Aiman want to repeat his opinion about the second son.
Okay. For the second son, I did not allow him to play game on the gadget more than 2 hours, and I will watch over my son when I have time. As a result, my second son was able to communicate well and make a lot of friends. Even I can clearly see that his emotional quotient is good enough. He knows how to sympathize, understand people even when he was young. Even now, I am practicing the method toward my older son. And I think that he's getting better every day when he blends with people surround him. sorry. I think I have learned from my own kids as much as they learn from me. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Aiman. First of all, I want to apologize about the mic previously. Okay. So, Mr. Aiman, for your second son, you have limited the time for them, and not them, I mean your second son, to use electronic gadget, so that he not use the gadget excessively. Okay, interesting. This is a nice development you got there, Mr. Aiman. I think it's never too late to fit something. Okay, let's move on to Dr. Ryan. Dr. Ryan, Mr. Aiman, sorry, I have got. How the electronic gadgets can affect the social skill of children? And from medical side, can you elaborate the side effects of electronic gadgets towards the mental of children? Okay, Dr. Ryan.
Thank you, Sayyid. Thank you, sorry. Well, from the kids that I've counted, electronic gadgets actually grew in parenting, especially through gameplay and so on. If it's used properly, it's able to increase the cognitive skill of the children in order to solve problems on their own. With their experience in gaming, even playing simple games such as Angry Bird, to online game like Mobile Legends, they are able to come up with a solution for every situation. And this skill can also be adapted to the real world. Okay? Becoming problem solver I think one of the aspects of become genius is this gadget. But the most important or the most worrying thing about this skill is it can make the children addict. They want to play more and more and more. Okay, this is my opinion.
Wow, Dr. Ryan. So you said just now that playing games can develop a genius side on the children. So, but can you elaborate more about this topic, Dr. Ryan?
Sure, why not? Okay. When the children use the gadget, a certain neuron system in our brain will be released to reward the people to become happy, and giving effect of pleasure. So when the children play a game, they will be happy and there will be some sort of pleasure. This effect can lead to addiction with the same mechanism as drug abuse. That's why when you allow your children to use gadget without any limit and suddenly you stop them, they will throw tantrum and spring into rage. They will start kicking around. It's caused by them not having sense of pleasure anymore. And being children, they have not yet learned to control themselves. Do you agree with me, Mr. Ayman?
Yes. Yes. Sorry. Test.
Put closer.
Yes, I agree. That is one of the problems I encounter when trying to fix my mistake.
Okay, sorry. Sorry for the problem with the mic. Okay, so that's interesting. And such a good explanation, doctor. So basically what the doctor said just now, that electronic gadget can be addictive as they use it excessively because it can give a same mechanism as drug abuse. Okay. All of you agree with me? Yes, okay. So, okay. I also think that one of the most dangerous effects of the electronic gadgets is addiction to them. Okay? Let's move on to the next panelist. Our final panelist actually, Mr. Ali. As a children caretaker, I know that you have been dealing with kids every day. What do you think of the exposure of electronic gadgets? Do you have the same experience with Mr. Ayman, by the way?
Thank you, Uzai. Well, it's quite the opposite actually. From my experience in handling lots of kids, at the same time, electronic gadgets help me a lot in teaching children, ranging from teaching ABC to teach moral values toward children in my care. Usually, I use my iPad as an interesting medium to teach children basic academic knowledge such as ABC, simple addition and subtraction, and so forth. It's much easier and convenient for the children and even for me. They can understand more what I was trying to say when I use colorful and beautiful pictures with my iPad. You know, from what I saw, the easiest way to catch the attention of children is by using this kind of illustration. I think that using these gadgets properly can surely give positive effects rather than negative ones if one knows how to limit the usage.
So, Mr. Ali, you said just now that gadget also can be useful or can be used in a proper way to educate the children. Yes, Mr. Ali? That's so interesting. But I'm still wondering. You said that you also teach moral values to the children by using this platform. How do you do that? Can you share that with us? Because we are wondering.
Okay, regarding that one, usually I will make use children's stories in youtube.com such as Dora the Explorer and Bob the Builder. This kind of children's series teach children on how to cooperate with each other and have empathy with other people in their lives. It is nice when the children think that we are only giving them entertainment, but actually we subliminally want to teach these children moral and ethical values. But of course, this activity is done in my surveillance, and I only limit this activity to 1 hour per day. But sometimes, I also use this activity as a reward for my children if they are behaving well. See, with great precaution, things that considered risky as electronic gadgets can also be beneficial.
Wow, that is one way you can see it. It's surely nice to have a forum when they use different perspectives to be looked at. So from 3 panels here, I think the keyword here is living. Everything must be India only. So Mr. Najmuddin, is there anything from the IT perspective that can limit the usage of this gadget itself?
Yes, of course, Jose. There are certainly many applications and mediums that parents can use to limit their children from the danger side of electronic gadgets. Okay, I think most of you know Kaspersky antivirus software, right? And I think most of you have one installed in your computer. Okay, this antivirus software, actually you can set up something that's called as parental control. Parental control is a feature that's available in most antivirus softwares nowadays. Okay, by setting this parental control, parents can limit their children's internet usage that will block any access to such websites that promote pornography, abuse, and violence. Okay, I think you should have known that besides the effect that you already said before, one of major problems in using electronic gadgets is their limitless capabilities, right? With phone today, nowadays you can do pretty much everything. From a simple smartphone that can fit in your hand, many agendas and unhealthy cultures can be developed into our children's mind and assimilate in our life, in their life, sorry. And so, from what I have known, these people did not target adults like us, but they will target children to poison their minds. So, I think that's all.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mr. Najmuddin. Because, children, as I said before, is our next leader. Because we are the generation Y, are being expecting our generation Z, which is our children, to be more like, what we call that, can be develop our nation into more peaceful and more developed in terms of technology and ethics. Okay. So, Mr. Najmuddin, could you elaborate more on the agendas and the unhealthy culture from the internet? Because I think that particular topic must be emphasized more.
Okay, sure, no problem. Most of you must know that internet is the source of entertainment for us, right? But do you know what kind of entertainment it is? From what you know, the music video, we use internet for music videos, for to see movies, to share something with our friends in the social media. But this is just the base of the entertainment in the internet. Most of the entertainment in the internet actually promotes pornography and violence. But most of you would not know this because Malaysia should have blocked this website from entering our country. But nevertheless, these kinds of entertainment keeps growing and growing every day. And Malaysia government couldn't comprehend with their growth. So, as a result, many of these websites still accessible to the public. And you can imagine yourself, if this kind of websites gets into our children's smartphone and gets into their hand. So, in short word, it will be catastrophic.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yes, it makes sense. think it is our responsible to be taking care of our children, because I think that our government is doing their best. By the way, this is so dangerous and terrifying that has to be imagine. I think that is why limit must be in exist in allowing our children to use electronic gadgets. Okay. By the way, I think we must moving to our next session. It is our Q&A session. Okay, now we have two questions from our social media. Okay, the first one is by the way, the question yet we asked before this forum has started, and I get it from the Facebook page, our Facebook page. Okay, so the first is from, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Afi from Kelantan. Okay, I want to ask Mr. Aiman. The question want to ask Mr. Aiman, what are the steps you have to be taken so that your children can be stopped from overusing gadgets? Okay, that is the first question. The scenario is, my son is 5 years old now and has been addicted to video games in smartphone now. When I try to stop him, he will start crying out loud and throw tantrum. I don't know what I must do. So, Mr. Aiman, what are the suggestions that could you give to him?
Okay. Next question from you, Mr. Afi. Actually, you cannot simply to take the phone from your child and expect them to follow your order. It is easier if you first find an alternative for him as a source of entertainment. I think a great way to get started. This is what is called the art of This is what is called the art of distraction. You must first distract your child with another thing so that he will still have his entertainment, but in better way. Okay, that's all from me.
So the method that you suggest Mr. Afif to use is use the other thing that can distract them from using the gadgets, mostly the mobile phone. So that is interesting one. And the method you use, the method that you suggest to use is books, right? Okay. So reading books actually can distract them to be excessive usage of smartphone. Okay, thank you, Mr. Aiman. Now, for the next question I get yesterday is from Mr. Ame. Okay. The question asked that he want to ask Mr. Ryan regarding of the electronic gadgets. Electronic gadgets effects of the eye problem. So his child has been using gadgets for years now. He want to know, is there any precaution to avoid this complication, which are the eye problem and the back problem? Okay, Dr. Ryan.
Thank you for the question, Mr. Ahmed. Actually, it has been proven scientifically that using gadgets can lead to eye and back problem. Okay, the eye problem is caused by the strain of eye muscle and retina when looking at a screen, and back problem usually caused by the posture of the body when using the gadget. As we know, when the children using the gadget, they tend to sit on the back posture, so it will give bad effect to their back. And also, they tend to put the gadget close to their eye. And this is bad for the eye actually, as it can damage it. Okay. My advice for you is to prevent using gadget in dark room, as well to always look far away to relax your eye every 15 minutes. Plus, keep your phone or gadget in the eye level when using, so that your back won't be strained. That's all from me. For you, Mr. Ahmed.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ryan. So we know that in order to avoid our eyes to be strained and our back to be having a bad posture, we have to limit our usage of gadget, mostly our children. For example, Dr. Raji just said now that use the gadget every rest after using the gadget every 50 minutes, and do not use the gadget in the dark room, and not use the gadget close to our eyes. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ryan. I think that's all question for today. So now, I think we have come to a definitive conclusion that despite the beneficial effects of the gadget, and there are also their bad effects for our children. But the key to minimize the side effects is, I think, the limiting usage of gadgets. By limiting the usage of gadgets, surely our children can gain more benefit in order to become a better person of value. I would like to thank our panels, Mr. Aiman, Dr. Ryan, Mr. Alif, and Mr. Najmuddin, and the audience for spending some time with us. So give a big clap to us. Okay. So again, thank you for spending time with us. Till we meet again next time. Everyone in another problem. Assalamualaikum.